Voting methods. We're going to focus on 4 different voting methods. With the plurality method, which is the easiest, you just look at the first place votes. Whoever has the most first place votes wins. The person who wins may not have a majority. No big deal. We're just looking for the most first place votes. Border count method, we take the first place votes and we'll assign it like 5 points for first place if there's 5 candidates, or 5 places I mean. Second place will be 4 points. Then we'll times that by the number of votes for each candidate and see who wins from there. Plurality with elimination, what we do on this is we'll count the number of first place votes, and as soon as someone has a majority, the key word here is majority, then we'll win, then that's the winner. Now, if there is no one who has a majority of votes, we'll eliminate the person who has the fewest first place votes, and then we'll revote and then count the number of first place votes and see if there's a majority there. If there's not, we'll do the same process again until we have a majority winner, or a winner by majority. In pairwise comparison method, what we do is we do head-to-head competitions, and if a person wins, they get a point. If they tie, they get half a point, and then we count them all up and see who wins from there. Probably doesn't make any sense until we do some examples. That's what we're going to do. So here we go. I'm going to use this example. This table will be used for the first 3 examples: plurality method, border count method, and then plurality with elimination. And then I'll use a different one for pairwise comparison. So we have these 5 people running: A, B, C, D, and E. We're going to use the polarity method. So all we're doing here is looking for most first place votes. That's all we care about. So we have A, B, C, D, and E running. Now let's look at the first place votes only. I'm not looking at that at all. So I'm just looking at this and nothing else. Now these represent the number of votes, or the number. It's like the number of, like 7 people voted in this order, 4 people voted in this order, 1 person voted in this order, 2 people voted in this order, 9 people voted in this order. So we have A has 7 first place votes. C received 4. D received 1. E received 2. And B received 9. Well, who has the most? B. B wins. B had the most number of first place votes. Now the border count method, we will use this. This 5 represents first place. And then second place will receive 4 points. Third place will receive 3. Fourth place will receive 2. And fifth place will receive 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to count up all the votes for each candidate using the border count of the point system. So when I'm looking at for A, on this column, A received 7 first place votes, and each of those first place votes is worth 5 points. So that's 7 times 5. And then on this one, A received 4 second place votes. Second place is 4, so it's 4 times 4. A received 1 vote. Fifth place, that's worth 1 point, so that's 1 times 1. 2 people voted A in fourth place, and fourth place is 2 votes, so that's 2 points, and 2 times 2 is what we're going to have there. And then 9 people voted C in third place, and third place is 3 points, so that's 9 times 3. So when you add those up, if you want to, just bring out your calculator, like I am. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1, plus 4, plus 27. We have 83 votes total for A. Now what I can do is make this maybe a little bit easier. These are all for, I'll just go ahead and label those. And these are all 5 points. You don't have to do this, but I think this might be a little bit easier. Third place is 3 votes. Fourth place is 2 votes. Fifth place is 1. It's not vote, I should be saying points. It's 1 point. So let's look at B. That's going to be 7 times 4. 4 times 2. 1 times, where's B? 3. 2 times 1 plus 9 times 5. So that's 28 plus 8 plus 3 plus 2 plus 45, which is 86. And then C is 7 times 3, 4 times 5, 1 times, where's C at 2, 2 ballots, 2 voters, times 4 points, 9 voters times 4, 21 plus 20 plus 2 plus 8 plus 36 is 87. Now D, 7 people voted. Fourth place has 2 points per voter. 7 times 2 plus 4 times 3 plus 1 times 5 plus 2 times 3 plus 9 times 2. 14 plus 12 plus 5 plus 6 plus 18 is 55. And then E received 7 times 1 points plus 4 times 1 plus 1 times 4 plus 2 times 5 plus 9 times 1. So 7 plus 4 plus 4 plus 10 plus 9. And that's 34. Who won? The one with the most points wins. So with this method, C wins by the border count method, or the point system. The polarity with elimination, I'm not going to use this. So on this one, we're going to count the number of first place votes and see if we have a majority. Now first off, when you count those, when you add those up, 7 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 9, 9, 10, 10, 16, 23, 23 total. So you divide 23 by 2 is 11.5, which means 12 is a majority. You round up. Now if there were an even number like 24, if it were 24 divided by 2, even though this isn't a majority, your book that we're using are saying that 12 is also a majority. It should be 12 plus 1 more is 13, but that's what your book is using, so just be aware if you're in my class. So we're looking for a majority of 12. So as of right now, A has 7, B has 9, C has 4, D has 1, E has 2. No majority. And that means that we're going to eliminate the fewest. And that's D. So when we do that, we're going to rewrite this table. That means that D has been eliminated. Fewest votes is eliminated. So let's just do it again. 7, 4, 1, 2, 9. And this time we're going to just move everybody up. Everybody moves up. So it goes. Let me erase this and give myself some more room so you can see it. 7, 4, 1, 2, 9. So it stays A, B, C, and that becomes E, and then C, A, B, E, and then E, B, C, A, and then E, C, A, B, and then B, C, A, E. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to count A, B, C, E, because D was eliminated. So A has 7, B has 9, C has 4, E has 1 plus 2, which is 3. 12 is still a magic number. We don't have 12 yet. So that means E is eliminated. So everybody moves up. 7, 4, 1, 2, 9. So E is eliminated. So now we recount. Everybody moves up. We're assuming that everybody still votes the same. They just move their votes up. BCA, CAB, BCA. So now we have 3 candidates, A, B, and C. A has 7, B has 1 plus 9, unless I did something wrong somewhere. So B has 1 plus 9, which is 10, and C has 4 plus 2, which is 6. Don't have 12 yet. So that means that C is now eliminated. C had the fewest. So C is gone. And we have A, B, A, B, B, A, B, B, A. So let's count those. A has 7 plus 4 plus 2, and B has 1 plus 9. 11, 12, 13 to 10. We have a majority. A wins. Now for the pairwise comparison method, I'm using a different chart. I want to make sure we have a winner. And what we're going to do is head-to-head competitions. What that means is we're going to do A versus B, A versus C, A versus D, A versus E, B versus C, because I don't want to do B versus A because I've already done that. B versus C, B versus D, B versus E, C versus D, C versus E, and D versus E. That's all the pairwise or the head-to-head competitions that I have. And then whoever wins gets a vote. If there's a tie, they get half a vote in each of these head-to-head competitions. So let's just do this. Let's do A versus B first. A versus B. So looking at these 12 votes, A versus B, who wins? A does, so A gets those 12 votes. Now for these 8 votes, Doing A versus B, who wins? B does. So B gets those 8 votes. And for here, A versus B, A wins, so A gets those 7 votes. And A versus B, for those 9 votes, A wins, so A gets those 9 votes. And then A versus B here, B wins, so B gets those 5 votes. So when you add those up, 12 and 7 is 19 and 26 versus 13. A wins, so A gets a vote, a point there. And that's how we're going to do all these head-to-head competitions. Every one of them. So you've done that one. So now let's do A versus C. So here A wins those 12. For here, A versus C, A wins those 8. For these, C wins those 7. A wins those 9. And C wins those 5. Some of these are pretty obvious on who wins. You don't really have to add them up. You just want to know who wins. A wins, so A gets a vote there. Or a point there, I mean. Let's do A versus D. A wins those 12. A wins those 8. D wins those 7. A wins those 9. And A wins those 5. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? A wins. So that's a point for A again. Let's do A versus E. A wins those 12. E wins those 8. A wins those 7. A wins those 9. And E wins those 5. So if you want to count those up, that's 28 versus 13. A wins there. So A gets another point. Now let's do B versus C. B wins those 12 there. B wins those 8. C wins those 7. C wins those 9. And C wins those 5. So that's 20. And that's 621. Ooh, that's a close one. C wins, so C gets a point. Let's do B versus D. B gets those 12. B gets those 8. D gets those 7. B gets those 9. And B gets those 5. It's pretty obvious. B wins there. Let's do B versus E. B wins those 12. B wins those 8. D wins those 7. B wins those 9. And B wins those 5. Once again, if it's obvious, don't worry about it. Then C versus D. C gets those 12. D gets those 8. D gets those 7. C gets those 9. And C gets those 5. That's 26 versus 15. Just another point for C. Or first point for C. So now you got 2 more. C versus E. And C and D versus E. So let's see. C gets those 12. Then C versus E. E wins those 8. C gets those 7. C beats E with those 9. And C beats D with those 5. So C wins for sure. Then D versus E. D wins those 12. E wins those 8. D wins those 7. D wins those 9. And E wins those 5. D won that one, but it doesn't hurt just to make sure. 28 versus 13. So D wins there. So let's count up how many we have. A, B, C, D, and E. A has 1, 2, 3, 4. B has 1, 2. C has 1, 2, 3. D has 1 and E has 0. Is that correct? So A has 1, 2, 3, 4. B has 1, 2. C has 1, 2, 3. And D has just that 1. So who's the winner? A wins by the pairwise comparison method.